Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Bree, and today I'm talking about westerns and cowboys, specifically cowboy culture and the myth of the American West. Um, so what brought this on? Well, I grew up mostly in the West. Now, in my childhood, I lived in Kansas, which was a part of the West in the Old West, before we migrated further west into the Wild West. Um, but now we refer to Kansas and that area as the Midwest. Um, we didn't at the time because it was the West at the time. I wasn't alive then, but before they migrated further. And during this time, eventually I moved to Idaho and Nevada and grew up in the real West, you would say, the Wild West. Parts of Nevada are still the Wild West. You still have ranchers walking around in their cowboy boots. You still have brothels that employ legally in Nevada prostitutes, sex workers, which is perfectly fine if that's what you want to do with your life. No shame here. You still have bars and casinos and saloons. You still have bar fights. You still have outlaws. There's a lot of things that are illegal in the other 49 states that are perfectly okay in Nevada. Fine as day. You can walk around in public with a alcohol container. A lot of states have open container laws, which mean you can't walk around in public with an open alcohol container, but you can in Nevada. You can walk into the corner store and buy marijuana in Nevada. So Nevada is still very much the Wild West. Um, Idaho still has a lot of the old West aesthetic. You still have a lot of Western themed towns. You still have a lot of ranchers, just like Colorado and Utah. Some other states I've been to, you still have a lot of that Western culture is still prevalent. Um, People love their country Western music. They love their horses and their cattle. Um, So you still have a lot of that. I grew up with a lot of that. And you still have a lot of authentic cowboys in the Wild West, in Nevada and Arizona and Colorado and Utah, Idaho, a little bit in Washington, um, a big chunk of them in Wyoming, and definitely Montana. Um, so you still have that. Now you have what I would call fake cowboys in Kansas and Nebraska. We used to call them Kmart cowboys back in the day. And I'm gonna throw shade on Texas. You guys are not a part of the West, and your cowboys are not real cowboys. So I'm gonna throw some shade. I lived in Texas, and they're fucking wannabes. They're not real fucking cowboys. There are real cowboys in Texas. Don't get me wrong. There are real live ranchers, but there's a lot of fucking people that claim to be the West when they're not. Texas was a part of the South. It is not a part of the West. It's not even a part of the Southwest. It's more Midwest than it is, Southwest. I mean, the Southwest starts with the state next to Texas, which would be New Mexico. So no, Texas, I'm sorry, but y'all are not true Wild West. You're not real cowboys. I put you in the Kmart cowboy camp with Kansas and Nebraska. I'm just sorry, it's just the way it is. I grew up in the real West and I saw real cowboys, and y'all are not real cowboys. I'm just, I'm gonna throw shade because it's the truth, so whatever. I don't care. Um, Texans also are assholes. They're mostly cons, and there's a lot of fucking Confederates in Texas, which makes no fucking sense because the South lost the goddamn war. Get the fuck over it, you dipshits. The South is not gonna quote rise again. You're never gonna overtake the North. There is no North and South anymore. The line has been erased. Um, you're not going to separate from the Union peacefully without a war. You're not going to get a war because we have too many U.S. military bases in Texas. You don't have an organized militia that can take on the U.S. military. So just shut the fuck up. You fake, phony ass wannabe cowboys. Shut the fuck up, you fucking Texans. You dipshit motherfuckers. Now, I'm not saying every person who lives in Texas is a dipshit. You're not. There's some good people in Texas. My sister lives in Texas, and I love it. Well, most of my family lives in Texas, and I have no problem with them. I'm talking about those fake ass fucking Confederate wannabes, those fucking neocons, and the fucking dipshit fucking. We're Southerners, we're not Americans. We're occupied territory. Fuck you, you're not. You dipshits who cry, we're the Confederacy, we're not America, are the same dipshits who threw a fucking hissy fit when a fucking football player kneeled for the American anthem. Which fucking is it? Do you like America or not, assholes? Shut the fuck up, Texans. Shut the fuck up. No one wants to hear you. I grew up in the West. I've never rode a horse, and I likely never will because I'm kind of afraid of horses. But I love cattle. I love cows, and I especially love bison. True story. My dream, my goal in life, what I would love more than anything is to have $1 million or whatever it takes to move to Montana and own a bison ranch. I would die if I got an opportunity to just go own a bison ranch in Montana. I would love it. And yes, in that scenario, I probably would ride a horse. Although I might get a four-wheeler ATV to take the place of a horse. Depends on how the bison handle that. I've seen ranchers drive ATVs instead of ride horses. I'm okay with that. Um, I grew up in Kansas, so my dad grew up on a farm. So I went to the family farm for summer vacation, and had to work on the farm as a kid. So I do have an appreciation for farm working. My first job ever in life was working in a cornfield in Nebraska. So I've done farming. Um, and I don't have a problem with having like a garden in my backyard. I'm good with that. But I don't want to be a farmer. But I would love to be a rancher. I think that would be fucking awesome. Now, I am not a big fan of everything Western culture. When I say Western culture, I mean American Western, Wild West, Old West culture, the cowboy myth. But I am still fascinated by it. Um, you know, uh, especially some of the legends like Billy the Kid or Doc Holliday. Those are pretty cool. They're not cool people, but they're cool myths. They're cool stories. And I would say that the American myth of the cowboy, the Wild West, is very pervasive in our society. Now, Westerns, as a film and television theme, are still around. A lot of people say that Westerns died. They didn't. They just evolved. I would argue Breaking Bad is kind of a Western. Absolutely, Deadwood is a Western. You know, um, Westworld is kind of a sci-fi Western, but it's still a Western. There are, Walker Texas Ranger, I would argue, is still kind of a Western, even though that's not currently running, I guess. So yeah, I think the American Western culture, Midwest culture, the cowboy myth, whatever you want to call it, is still alive and well today. And I'm kind of a fan of it. I think it's pretty cool stuff. Stay cool.